After Frank DeLeo's firing, Katherine Jackson's campaign to get Michael Jackson to go to Korea with his brothers continued, but Michael could not be swayed. Now that Frank was out of the picture, Jerome Howard telephoned Michael's accountant, Marshall Gelfin, to ask for help in getting Michael to commit to the Korean venture. By all means, Marshall told Jerome, we're always looking for ways to make extra money for Michael. Call John Brecka, tell him I told you to call and he'll convince Michael. Michael loves to work, so sure he'll go. At this time, the Koreans said, well, if he won't go, they were panicking. Jerome recalled, fine, then offer him 10 million to come, they said. That's 10 million above the 7.5 million the brothers would get and split among themselves. And they said they were going to give him an airplane from Korean Airlines to travel it and another plane for the brothers. This way, Michael wouldn't have to be seen with his brothers except on stage. I faxed all of this to John Branca, who got back to me right away and said, no, Michael doesn't want to go. So then the Koreans sent a gold dust bust statue of Michael over to him to try to convince him. Still, Michael won't budge. He didn't want to go, but no one was listening to the guy. Then the Koreans offered me a gift, a car, because they thought I might have some influence on Michael, which I did not have, Jerome continued. I already had three cars. I didn't need another. But they wanted to buy me a $70,000 Mercedes. I told Catherine and Joseph said, they're not going to buy you no car. Well, the Jacksons weren't paying me anymore, so I accepted the Mercedes. When I drove the Mercedes into the Jacksons' property, Catherine was happy for me. I told her I was going to sell the car and use the money to cover my expenses until she and Joseph could pay me again. She said, no, you need that car for business. They gave you that car. You keep it and don't you ever sell it. But Joseph was off because they gave me a car but didn't give him one. Those are our kids, Catherine. Why should Jerome get a car but we get no car? He wanted to know. From that time, Joseph's attitude about me began to change. I began to feel I was about to get cut out of the deal. The Koreans still felt that if anyone could talk Michael into going on this tour, Catherine could. Therefore, they upped the ante and actually gave her the $1 million bounty on condition that she get her son's signature on the contract within 14 days. Jerome Howard handed Catherine the two $500,000 cashier's checks. I don't want the money, Jerome, Catherine insisted. Don't give it to me. If I don't give it to you, then I have to give it to Joseph, Jerome warned her. Catherine took the money. Do you think you could convince Michael? He asked. Well, I can only try, Catherine said. Michael has a mind of his own, you know. She shook her head in disbelief. $1 million. I guess we have come a long way. Joseph never imagined that Catherine had $1 million stashed away somewhere in Havenhurst. Jerome, however, feared that if Joseph knew about it, he would have cashed the checks immediately, signature or no signature from his sons. Catherine apparently agreed because she did not tell him she was in possession of the reward money. If she got Michael's signature on the contract, she said she fully intended to give Joseph half of the award. In the last year, Michael made over $65 million according to Forbes magazine. He had been one of the highest paying entertainers in the world in 1988. He could be generous when he wanted to be, but when it came to his family, he had reservations. However, his family needed his help and believed that Michael should come to their rescue. It's true that the brothers did feel that Michael owed them. Michael is very popular right now, Jerome said at the time. I feel I've contributed a major part to it. Not just me, but my brothers too. What's happened to Michael has a lot to do with what we all did as the Jackson Five. In March 1989, Jerome Howard and Kenneth Troy were at the Jackson's estate in Encino with Catherine, Joseph, and Jermaine. discussing the problem at hand. I think the best thing would be for him to get closer to his family, Jerome said. Once you make so much money, it's another dollar. At some point, you have to start looking at the important things like love, family, and health. As they were talking, the phone rang. Catherine took the call upstairs. Joseph followed. A few minutes later, Catherine came running down the stairs, huffing and puffing, saying, Michael's on the phone. Michael's on the phone. Joseph's talking to him right now, Jerome Howard recalled. She was very worked up with about now. Germain ran to the staircase where Catherine was sitting, and in a very excited tone said to her mother, Let Kenneth talk to Michael. Let Kenneth try to convince him. After all, he convinced you and Joseph in the first place. He should talk to Michael. Catherine was skeptical. I don't know if that's a good idea, she said as she ran back up the stairs. It's also frightening, but pick up the phone and try, she yelled back at him. It can't hurt. According to Jerome, Germain ran back over to Kenneth. Look, man, you gotta persuade Michael. But how? Kenneth asked helplessly. How do I do this? He looked bewildered. Man, I don't know, Germain answered. His brow was furrowed. It looked like he was trying to think of something quickly. But you gotta do it. Cry on the phone to him if you have to, he said fatuously. Whatever, just do it, man. Do it. Kenneth Troy picked up the telephone. Michael, please, my country wants you to come and perform, he said in broken English. There was a pause. Apparently, Michael was to explain why he didn't want to do the tour. But please, Michael, I beg you. Another pause. Suddenly, Kenneth began to weep. But Michael, if you don't come to my country to perform, I have no choice but to oof. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it bravely. Kenneth began to weep, but Michael, if you don't come to my country to perform, I have no choice but to kill myself, he said, his tone theatrical. I mean it, I'll do it. In moments, Kenneth was sobbing uncontrollably. Jermaine took one look at him and fell to his knees, laughing. He had to hold his hand over to his mouth to stifle the sound. Then Jerome fell to the floor as well, laughing hysterically. Kenneth ignored them both. You see, this is my mission, he continued on the phone, tears cascading down his cheeks. My mission is to bring you, the great Michael Jackson, to Korea to perform for all the people there. I might see you, please. I beg you, Michael, please, please. Finally, Michael agreed to meet with Kenneth Choi. He never could resist a crying man. According to Jerome, with Kenneth got off the phone, his demeanor immediately changed and he began dancing around the room merrily. My God, I can't believe it, he whooped. I talked to Michael Jackson on the phone. Oh my God. Michael, since the 2 weeks Catherine had to convince Michael to sign the contract had passed, she had no choice but to return the $1 million reward money. Joseph was angrier when he heard she had given it back. We could have used the money, Katie, he said angrily. Oh my God, the world is going to be crazy when my own wife has $1 million and doesn't tell me about it. Soon after that, Jerome Howard quit after working for Catherine and Joseph Jackson. I discovered that Kenneth Choi was meeting with Joseph and Catherine behind my back, cutting a side deal when I saw this happen. I quit. It had been 20 years since the Jacksons moved from Gary to Los Angeles in search of fame and wealth. All of them had come to enjoy a privileged lifestyle. However, somewhere in the process, they seemed to lose all perspective and reality. And it seemed that none of them knew when to stop. They wanted more, always more. When the Koreans figured out how to appeal to this acquisitive streak, a new many inducted Delicans spread like a cancer throughout the family. The Moody's gave Joseph a Rolls Royce Corniche for he will get more than $50,000 because, after all, he was Michael Jackson's father and it was thought he must have some influence on him. Then Catherine got $35,000 because she was Michael's mother. When Jermaine got a Range Rover because he was the brother who, it was felt, had the most power over Michael, He gave the automobile to Hazel as part of their divorce settlement. When Michael got $60,000 in expensive artwork, because he was, after all, the man of the hour, that wasn't enough, however, so the Korean sent over a white Rolls Royce currency, which Michael happily accepted. Why not? Have they ever dumb enough to give it to him? He figured he was smart enough to take it. He wasn't even sure where it came from, he said. Who are these people? And why are they giving me a car? He asked John Branca. Other people were getting many thousands of dollars just because they knew Michael, and it was hope had some sway over him. Jerome Howard said to the Moonies this was just so-called seed money, funds they had to spend in order to get close to Michael. Even Michael's bodyguard, Bill Bray, got $500,000, and today no one even remembers why or how he got it. Everyone was greedy enough to accept that they could before the Koreans finally realized that the chance of Michael Jackson ever doing those concerts was nil. The another of the debacle was reached when one of Bill Bray's girlfriends went to Kenneth Troy and said, "Listen up, you. My boyfriend controls Michael Jackson, and I control my boyfriend. So if you want this concert to take place in Korea, then you better give me something." Well, what do you mean? Kenneth asked, hopefully. Maybe she could do the job no one else was able to do. She mulled it over. How about that 560 CAL Mercedes Benz you have parked in your driveway? It's yours, Choice. He handed her the keys. Finally, Kenneth Troy got to meet with Michael Jackson he had so desired. Catherine brought him along with her to the Soul Train Awards, where Michael was an honoree. But when Catherine introduced him to her son, he dropped to his knees and kissed Michael's hand. My people need you, he told Michael. You must perform in Korea. After all, Japan attacked our countries 2 times, and you performed in Japan 2 times. You even held a Japanese baby in your arms. Huh? Michael asked. He looked perplexed. Who the heck are you? Mother, who is this person? Why, Michael, this is the nice man I told you about, Catherine said eagerly. Kenneth, you know the man who is putting together the concerts in Korea? From the look on his face, Michael didn't have the vaguest idea who his mother was talking about or why the man in front of him was on his knees. My people need to see you, Kenneth continued. You are a hero, a seeing man. He then pulled out a video camera and then began taping Michael. No, wait, Michael said, putting his hands in front of his face. Stop, this is a reunion thing. Is that what this is? Yes, Michael, Catherine said. Yes, this is him, Kenneth Choi. She was brimming with excitement. But I don't do business with my family, Michael said, turned to Kenneth. And stop taping me. Stop it, I said. By June 1989, after almost 6 months of feeling pressured by everyone around him, Michael finally signed a contract to appear in Korea for 4 shows that would take place in August. I can't take another second of it, he said in explanation of his decision. These people are going to drive me crazy until they get what they want. So let's just do the shows and get it over with. He'll perform only 4 songs. However, as well as mainly with his brothers, the rest of the show will be done by the brothers without Michael. I'm doing it for Catherine, he said of the Korean deal. The film was elated. Finally, Michael had committed to the Jackson Mooney project. No one received the reward money. However, because Michael had made up his own mind, he should have gotten $1 million, said John Brecka, for turning himself over to the Koreans until the first edition of his book was published in 1991. Michael didn't even know that there had been a reward offered to many family members who could secure his services. Amazingly, considering all that had occurred in the recent 6 months, when the deal was signed, it was time to pass the promised millions on to Michael. The Reverend Moon, who was to fund the venture, decided that the agreed upon amount was too high a price. According to Jerome Howard, meanwhile Michael's payment lowered, first to $8 million, then to 7, then 5, then 4.5, and finally to $2.5 million. Finally, the deal fell apart completely. As a result, Michael Jackson ended up being sued by Sega Times Incorporated, which is financed by River Moon. Moon wanted his money and all of the gifts to be returned. Also named in suit were Joseph, Catherine Jerome Howard, Jermaine Jackson, and Bill Bray. Michael in turn sued Sage Times Incorporated for $8 million, saying that he was not giving back any of his gifts and not demanding that anyone else give back theirs either. There is disagreement among the participants of the Jackson Media Project about who is responsible for what had occurred, but most associates of Michaels agree that none of it would ever have happened if Frank Delia still had been Michaels' manager. After all, in the past, Frank had intercepted many deals having to deal with the family before they even reached Michael. Even John Berger could not have protected Michael from the debacle because by the time Michael went to him for advice, he had made up his mind to sign the deal, so it seemed to some observers that Michael, now seeming more paranoid than ever, was beginning to lose confidence in John as well. I don't know how to. I don't even know how this whole thing happened or how I got involved in it, Michael said at the time. All I know is I kept saying no, 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 no. But my family would not take no for an answer. Like what happened as a result. The whole thing just made me sick. Just sick.